Well, I started working on the sheet metal in the trunk, the rust holes in here, and I took my body hammer and beat everything really good. Got some rust holes here. What I'll do is I'll cut probably the sheet metal out around here and just replace this whole corner. This is solid. This is the heavy brace. That's the body mount. Probably what I'll have to do is unbolt the body mount, take the rubber out so I can put a new piece in there and have it bent up and over for the sheet metal to weld to end of the wheel well into the trunk floor. There's no real body lines right here. This is all flat. This is what it's supposed to look like. This is the passenger side, and that's all solid. I beat that pretty good with the body hammer and it didn't go through anywhere. So I think when this car was rust proof they just did a poor job of it. You can see the inside of the quarter panels are all solid. This side over here, somebody's sloppily brush painted it with a well, it looks like the correct color, but it looks like they did it with a brush. And I came in here and there's no damage whatsoever, no rust, nothing to the inner quarter there. So that'll just get repainted. I'll just paint that when I'll paint probably the bottom of that quarter, but the inner panels to that quarter panel are all good. All rust on this is just here, there, and there. And that's a body mount here. There's a body mount underneath where that bump is. And this was a heavy steel brace, and I think it just sat full of crud where that brace was, and that's why it rusted out. So I'll make a new brace there, a new brace there, and repair all this brace, and then I'll weld in new sheet metal. After the underneath bracing's all done, I'll put all the new sheet metal in. But overall, I think the trunk, considering the car is a couple years from 60 years old, it's not too bad. I just taped the sending unit wire up out of the way so I wouldn't cause any damage to it. But the underside of the trunk lid's all solid, clean. The channel for the weather stripping is all solid. I haven't cleaned any of it. There's some mud and dirt in it right here. That's not rust. It's just a little bit of dirt and mud. When I washed the car, I didn't really wash in that lip. But that's all completely solid. And these are notorious to rust out in GM cars, around the trunk and the weather stripping. Not just Chevys but all GM cars. So it's coming along. I think today I'm gonna get this cut out, get some of this cut out, get that body mount out, and start making the heavy steel piece. I'm going to use the same heavier gauge steel that I used on the inner rocker panels for that. It's a bit of a chore to bend, but it bends. You just got to work it. And I'll cut it, I'll make a cardboard template so I get the curve and everything right, and then it'll come up and over, and then the sheet metal will weld to it, and that helps give the car some support. And then I'll put the body mount back in before I put the sheet metal back on. This will have a little part like that. That's where the body mount is on this side. Right underneath there is where that bolt is. So I think it'll be you can see it's pretty simple, cut and dry. So that'll be totally an easy repair. I don't see why I couldn't have all the complete rest of the trunk repaired in the next week or two. Depending on, I had a root canal and a crown put on a tooth about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's gone bad, and I got to have the tooth extracted and an implant done. So that's going to be fun. Monday I go in to get the tooth extracted, and because it had an infection, I don't think they're going to be able to put the implant. The implant's like, put it in everyday terms, it's like a drywall peg that you put a screw into to hold something on the wall. They put it up in, it's stainless steel, and they put it up in your bone where the tooth was, and it grows in, then then they cut it open. They have a little thing they can unscrew out of it and screw the pin in that the tooth goes on eventually. It takes about a year from start to finish, so you end up without a tooth for a while, but it's kind of over on the side. It's not a front tooth. So that's going to be the joy that I'm going to be looking forward to, is having an implant. That's always nice, having your bone drilled into, so they can put one of those drywall pegs up in your bone, but at least then I'll have a tooth back again. So the joys of dentistry. But yeah, it's coming along. Car's coming along good. And I haven't sanded on the filler over here yet. The longer you let that stuff dry, the better. Body filler shrinks as it dries, and so at least let it dry 24 hours between sandings. The longer you let it dry between sandings, the better. The better job you'll end up with at the end of the day long term, because it'll be done shrinking for the most part, and you won't have it look like heck in 6 months or a year. So the key is dry time with fillers and all your stuff, your primers, everything. Primers shrink when they dry, so you definitely want to allow enough dry time for all your fillers and primers and whatnot. So anyway, that's kind of the next chore I'm going to work on, is right there. It's coming along good, and like I say, I'll get that body mount out today and get that rust chopped out and start getting cut out a piece of cardboard to start cutting the steel. I'll make the piece underneath here out of cardboard first, and then use that as a template to trace on the steel. This is all solid, and I went underneath the car and scraped the undercoating off, and it's shiny steel on me after you scrape the undercoating off. So before I weld the sheet metal over, I'll paint all this with a Rust-Oleum, so it helps protect it. So yeah, it's coming along good, and get to work on that now, and I'll do a video once I get the inner brace welded in before I weld the sheet metal over everything. So it might be 3 or 4 days, I don't know, we'll see, before I can do another video. I'm going to a swap meet tomorrow. Tomorrow and Sunday there's a swap meet at the Gibraltar Trade Center in Mount Clemens, and I thought I might just hit that just for the heck of it and see what it's about. That would be the 14th and 15th of January 2017. So if you're watching this video and it's August or July or August, it'll be well past. But if you're watching it today and you're in this part of the country, and there is a swap meet this weekend at the Gibraltar Trade Center. Thank you for watching my videos. Enjoy.